This is not your typical BMW driven BMW. What I mean by that is that this is a BMW with a bit of class, no element of cocking about, as lots of them are. It's a 7 Series, and its main purpose is to comfort your soul, and your butt as well. BMW tends to be the company that focuses more on driving pleasure and sportiness more than wallowiness and luxuriousness, as you know. So does that suggest that the 7 Series is not as comfortable, not as luxurious as the competitors? No, it doesn't necessarily mean that, because for all the years it's been pretty much on par with the competition, as in being really soft, really luxurious, and also good to drive. Now this of course is a 6-year-old vehicle, so some of the technology and stuff is outdated. But just because the technology is outdated, does that mean that it's any less amazing to drive? Let's find out. So for this review, we're driving the 740i Active Hybrid. Yes, this is a hybrid. And a hybrid basically means that it's a vehicle with an electric engine and a normal combustion engine. So as we know, hybrids are better for the environment. They're healthier for the world. Let's see what animals think about that. What do you guys think about the 7 Series Active Hybrid? You like it? Do you like it? No? Do you like it? Huh? No? Interested? No. They don't like it. Is that delicious? I don't think the bunnies love the 740i Active Hybrid that much. You know, they didn't even want to touch the key. Anyway, the 740i Active Hybrid has a 3-litre inline-6 turbocharged engine. Power is quite good because of the supplementary from the electric motor. So 260 kilowatt, 350 horsepower, and 500 Newton meters of torque. So if we pop it into Sport Plus and we go, it sounds a little bit strange because of all the electronic motors, and it sounds a little bit like a vacuum actually. Not bad, just different. So they say this car will do 0 to 100 in about 5.8 seconds, which is pretty brisk for a heavy car like this. And obviously top speed 250 kilometers an hour. But what is quite shocking, let me pop it back into comfort. This car actually has a setting called Comfort Plus. It feels no different from comfort, but it has it. So what's really interesting is BMW claim this car's consumption at about 6.8 liters per 100 k's because it's a hybrid. And they say you'll be using electric power more of the time, and that figure is optimistic to say the least. You're not going to get 6.8 liters per 100 k's. Work on about 10 liters per 100 k's to be more realistic. But the hybrid system is nice to have when you're coasting more in traffic, and that it's on electric power more of the time. So there isn't a mode where you can switch it completely into electric. It does have an Eco Pro mode, but it depends on how much you press the throttle. If you press the throttle a very little small amount, then it will use more electric power. If you press it a little bit more, the petrol engine will kick in and has to supplement, because at the end of the day, big car. It's not a bad system, but I've driven a couple of hybrids and it's not very smooth, to be honest. Like if you drive a Lexus hybrid, you don't really feel it much when the electric motor comes on and the engine switches off and switches back on. This car, when the engine switches off and on, there's a little bit of a jerk, there's a little bit of engine feeling when the car starts. I feel like they could have refined that a little bit more, but hey, I'm sure in the future with the newer vehicles, they have definitely refined it, because as we know, we're all going into hybrid cars. Besides that, it's a very nice car to drive. You know, it's comfortable, it's rather sporty. It's nice. It's got good steering feeling, but nice and light because it's a luxurious car. It feels less big than it is, and that's an excellent thing, because sometimes it's a little bit intimidating to drive big cars for some people, and this car, it shrinks around you quite easily. The back of the 7 Series is obviously, as you'd expect, a really nice place to be. Tinted windows with electric shades that can go up and down. I've got rear entertainment also, which is not standard on the regular one. This is the individual. It's a spacious place to be. I've got a good amount of headroom. Legroom is also not too bad. It's quite nice and plentiful. Although I got to say, I do feel a bit more relaxed in the back of an S-Class. I feel the seats are a little bit softer, although these are shaped to feel a bit nicer, and they lean back a little bit also. You can get optional electric seats to move them at the back also, but overall it's excellent at the back. What did you expect? This car definitely feels more dynamic than an S-Class, as in you do get more of a driver involvement and a driver focus and a driver feel, which is a good thing. But you're buying a luxury car with the main purpose of it being ridiculously luxurious. And when you compare it to an S-Class is just a boat, honestly. It's way more comfortable than this car. It's more quiet, it's more refined. The 7 Series is excellent, but the S-Class just feels more comfortable. Something that you don't hear too often is with these type of hybrid cars, if you decide, okay, you want to go the hybrid route and, you know, try and save a bit of fuel but still have a petrol engine, you don't realize how much smaller the boot is actually, because the batteries are there. So you'll see a clip right now, I'll put it over the screen, but that's a very big difference. I mean, the 7 Series boot was not as spacious as other competitors a lot of the time, but because it's a hybrid, it really destroys so much of the space also. Obviously, if you're in other cars and you're opting a refrigerator, for example, is going to eat more space. We just know that, but it's a little bit of a trade-off that you have to have a hybrid and your space is a bit less in the boot. The interior is a lovely place to sit. Well cocooned and insulated, really a comfortable place to be. Although it has to be said that an S-Class feels more posh and feels more insulated and luxurious overall. It feels better, in a word, than the 7 Series. I mentioned earlier that this is 6 years old and is outdated, but it still has absolutely everything you could ever want or need, even though it may be just a tad older. This is the individual version 2, so it's got pretty much all of the extras. Heated seats, cooled seats, rear entertainment, soft closed doors, rear electric blinds, keyless entry and start, heads-up display, a decent reverse camera, blind spot assist, collision assist, night vision, lane departure assist, cruise control with a Distronic and lane keep assist, Bluetooth audio with a banging upgraded sound system, LED adaptive headlights, and much, much more. So it's definitely not short of anything. Another thing to consider when you want to buy one of these is that these old BMWs, especially the 7 Series, they do give a little bit of problems. They're not the most reliable cars in the world. These cars have S suspension. You don't know what S suspension is, not normal springs. And those things like to trouble over time. We've had many experiences personally with these cars, even Mercedes-Benz, for example, with the S suspensions. But these cars as well, you've got to watch out for suspensions, electronics. If you're going to go for the 750i with the V8 engine, those tended to give quite a bit of trouble, surprisingly. Some cars have even had to have their engines completely replaced. So, you know, look out for oil leaks, look out for problems. But if you're going to consider buying one of these, try and buy one with a little bit lower mileage and just set aside some money in case anything goes wrong, because you never know nowadays with these cars. Things are very expensive, especially because of all the electronics. So let's sum up everything that we've learned in this video about the 7 Series Hybrid. Bunnies are not the biggest fan of it, surprisingly. It's super luxurious and comfortable to drive, although not as good as an S-Class. It's got enough comfort and technology, more than enough, to be honest with you. And it's an excellent car to drive. I mean, come on, it's a 7 Series. So would I buy one at the end of the day? I wouldn't. Because the S-Class exists. By no means this is a bad car, obviously it's fantastic, but an S-Class is just more refined, more luxurious. It's just more of a lounge than this car is. The 7 Series is a 5-star hotel, in my opinion. The S-Class, that's more like 7 stars.